All right, Algebra A2. These are notes for 2-6, and these are angle problems. So these questions are going to be directly related to the vocabulary that we looked at in lesson 2-5. So it's going to be very important that you have this vocabulary page out and you're utilizing that to help you with these problems here. So we're going to review some of these angle relationships, the more important ones that you're going to need for this lesson. So these you should be filling out, hopefully by memory, so you can study them. Complementary angles are two angles with measurements that total 90 degrees. So complementary angles need to add up to 90 degrees. That is your complementary relationship. Those are the ones that have that right angle box and look kind of like they form an L almost, but they don't always have to form an L. It could be all different directions. I could take that diagram and I can somehow rotate it. There we go. Boom. That's still a 90-degree angle. Those two angles are still complementary. Next on the list is supplementary angles. Supplementary angle are two, and keep in mind it also could be or more. It doesn't have to be two. We looked at an example in the previous notes, 2-5, of how you could have three angles adding up to 180. So angles, two or more angles with measurements that total 180 degrees. So here, this one we're looking for supplementary, add up to 180 degrees. There's a little diagram of what supplementary angles can look like. The second last, I guess, because I see there's one underneath, are those vertical angles. This is super important because these vertical angles are going to come back to haunt us throughout this entire geometry stint that we're going to do. So vertical angles, two angles on opposite sides of intersecting lines, rays, or segments. They share, we got to add this in, they share a vertex. They have the same measurement and are congruent. Remember that symbol, the equal sign with the squiggly line on the top. That was a terrible sign. Let's try that again. Equal sign with the squiggly line. So, for example, in this diagram, we could have angle ABE. That is a vertical angle with DBC. Notice how they kind of form that X. Let's add that in here. They kind of form, that's not form, that's form an X. And you can see that they share that vertex, point B. No, come on. There we go. That's that vertex that they share. Those angles are the same measurements. So if I know that this one is 120 degrees, I know that this angle is also 120 degrees. And last one here are angles that form a straight line. So two or more angles that are adjacent. Remember, adjacent just means next to. Two or more angles that are adjacent and form a straight line together. They have measurements that are supplementary, which we know equals 180 degrees. So angles that form a straight line. So an example of that could be right here, angle DBA and angle ABE form that straight line that I'm going to highlight in yellow, DBE. And so keep in mind that if I add those two angles together, they will total 180. So if this one is 80 degrees, this one would have to be 100 to give us that 180 degree total.